No idea. I got it on Epidemic Sound. What's up, everybody? It's holiday season, and we got a quickie for you. Jump on. Let us know where you're coming in from. We're going to get started in just a moment. Talking about how to create togetherness when you're not together. Very meta, I know. Alright, we're getting started in just a moment. Alright, everybody, yeah. Hit those clappy hands. Hope you're enjoying this music. Alright, we're gonna officially get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and what's happening, everybody?
I'm like dancing in the background here.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to another quickie. This is just the tips. Gary Ware here, joined by the ever so beautiful. You're on the site. Apryl.
I don't know what side I'm on.
You're
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. I'm omnipresent.
Omnipresent. Look at you and your big words.
I know, right? That is a 75-cent word. Happy Thursday, Apryl.
Happy Thursday and happy holidays. We were just
Happy
talking
holidays.
about how this is our last quickie of 2020. We want to take some time off for the holidays. Ooh, that's a new one.
Yeah, right.
Play it again.
Pretty right.
Wow.
It's the little things. It's the little things. I know. Upgrades, little by little upgrades. But yes, it's our last one of the year. I can't believe it. But yes, it is our last one. And we're going to go out with a bang and talk about something that I'm pretty sure is on a lot of people's minds. And the whole thing about it's the holidays. It's 2020. Things are not how it has been in the past. And how can you still create that feeling of togetherness while apart? And so we got some tips for you. And since we're all about just the tips, let's dive right into it. What do you say?
Let's do it. I'm good.
All right, cool. First one. This is a big one. And this is the foundation for everything. So if you do not take anything else from this episode, I want you to focus on this one. So pay attention. And this is all about being intentionality. It's interesting because when we were in person gatherings, even the crappiest gathering, we still felt some sort of togetherness. And that's just because, as humans, we are wired for community. We are wired to be together. Even people that don't necessarily like people or like being around people all the time still need some sort of human connection, human bonding. And when we were in person, we didn't have to be as intentional. The fact that we just were there, it was good enough.
Yeah.
And then if you just try to redo that just by hopping on Zoom, that's where that, Zoom burn comes from, that Zoom fatigue, of just behind a camera. So you need to be intentional about the things that you want to do. And, that is all about how do you want people to feel at the end of the day. If you're getting together, with loved ones, at the end of the day, do you want them to feel like all warm and cozy? Do you want people to feel like, oh yeah, this was a good event. We connected. That's my main take on that. And it's, it does take a little bit extra work, but just that small little effort can go a long way. What do you think, Apryl?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think thinking about specifically what the feeling is that you want to have is key here, because I think a lot of people think about like, well, we're not together, so let's just hop on Zoom. But if you are feeling things like Zoom fatigue, or you're just not, you're feeling like it's a chore, that's probably not the way that's probably not being intentional, is you're doing it because you have to, or because you feel like you need to. And, I don't know. I mean, when we were able to see each other back in the day, there was this like, okay, well, there's an expectation of like, I'll always go home for Christmas or for the holidays. And those rules can kind of go out the window. But if you do care to still connect with your loved ones, albeit distanced, what do you want to feel at the end of it? If you can ask yourself that quick question of like, I just want to feel like, we had real conversation, or I just want to feel like we were able to, do something constructive together, or, those types of things. Like, what kind of outcome do you want to see? And that can then lead us into the second step, right?
Boom.
Right.
Yes.
So once you ask yourself how you want to feel, the second thing, obviously, is what can you do? What can you actually physically do to recreate that feeling? You might need to think about what has worked before. My family, we used to figure out a way to hang out with both sets of families back in the day. But one of the things that we always wanted to do was celebrate Christmas at home. Things have shifted a little bit now, and of course, like, we haven't seen some of our family across the country. We were actually supposed to spend time. So what is it that we are going to do to make that happen? One of the things that we instituted for my husband's side of the family, because we live so spread out, is that we decided to, before the pandemic even hit, to do Zoom calls on a quarterly basis, so we could, see the kids growing, give each other updates on what was happening, and then go from there and just kind of see, what topics of discussion needed to come up. That's the type of stuff that we did. But now that we're in this distance scenario, what can we do to create said feeling that we wanted to be intentional around? This could be something like, if you guys want to watch a movie together, you usually watch movies during Christmas, you can hop onto Disney Plus or Netflix and do that like joint group watch. I don't remember what they're called. One of the things that we have done as a distanced, in our situation, we, usually will watch football and watch that inside on a Sunday with friends, but we can't do that right now. So we actually bought a whole bunch of heaters here in Chicago and put a TV outside so that we could still be distanced, but, with more air circulating. So, still want to watch the football games, but can't do it together. So how can we recreate that? So I don't know, Gary, if you have any other examples or things to add there.
Yeah, no, those are all amazing examples. And the other thing is, do you have to actually be, behind a camera or on a screen?
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned like reimagine things, and you think about like how do you want to feel. If you find yourself on too many video things, what about just getting on a call? One thing that I did recently with a friend, we went for a walk together. We weren't even together, but we were on the phone, both on a walk, and having a conversation, and it was great to get out away from the screens, and again at the end of the call felt connected, felt like we got a chance to catch up, even though we weren't together, and then the other thing is how can you be creative? How can you think a little bit outside of the box and do something a little bit unconventional? Like April says, watching TV together, is a big thing. And there's a lot of cool tech out there that can allow you to do that. In a cool way. So,
Yeah.
and that is a great tie-in to number 3
Step 3.
is focus on being present. Especially, when we're behind screens and we're not like physically together, it does take more effort
Yeah.
to, make sure that you are being fully there. You know, you can have browser windows open, you can have other distractions, but just doing whatever you can to minimize those so that you can reap the benefits. I like to call, when this is done right, you get a dose, And DOSE is an acronym that stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That is the angel's cocktail, as I like to call it, that when done correctly, your body is full and flooded with those neurochemicals that make you feel like you belong, like you're accepted, you trust the other person more, you feel a little bit more creative, you feel energized. That is important, and it is possible to do in a distance in a virtual scenario if you follow the tips that we mentioned, and more importantly, you know, limit the distractions.
Yeah, yeah. And I think too, as part of this, and this is just a practice that I always recommend, when you're done with whatever it is that you're doing to practice togetherness and, having that connected time, um, take some time to reflect at the end and say, like, what was great about this? This is the thing that I love the most about this, and this is the thing that I appreciate. Because then when it comes time to doing this in the future, in the near future, you have a data point that you have at least exposed so that you can do it again and probably do it in a quicker way. Just, do it in a quicker way. So really just thinking about what can you do to make sure that those same feelings are preserved, because sometimes too you might want to intentionally create some sort of feeling and something new that was unexpected arises from it, and so you can then at least figure out how to tweak for future times and what you like to do with people. So it doesn't just have to be like, okay, let's get on a call so that we can be together. There's so many different ways that you can bond, and we have to be more proactive about it now more than ever. And hopefully by next Christmas, we won't be talking about this type of stuff because we'll all be together. Gary, I feel like it's like crazy because I haven't seen you in like almost 2 years now in
I know.
person. We've just been living together and apart. So, but yeah, I think, is that all for our tips?
Those are the tips. Those are the three tips. So yeah, let us know what you think. Was this
And
was this
yeah.
helpful? What are you going to implement?
And what are
Um,
you
you know,
doing for the holiday season? Like, what are you doing with your loved ones, whether they're with you or not with you?
yeah.
So that's
So
crazy.
yes,
And I mean, the happy holidays. It's like, oh, it's bittersweet that this is our last quickie for the year. But for those of you who have been following us, we've done 44 of these now over the last almost 2 years, or a little
yeah.
over 2 years. I can't remember how many
I don't
have we
remember. It's
done.
been a
Well,
long
it's
time.
about 40. We started it about a year ago, right? A little over a year ago.
Yeah, a little over a year, year
So,
and a half.
if you are liking what we're putting out, we're going to have some brand new content and new stuff to talk about. Next year, we're gonna spend some quality time with the fam, take a break from work, really celebrate everything that 2020 maybe was or wasn't, and regroup after the holidays. Now, if you are getting ready to kick off the year strong, you always know that our awesome community, the Accountability Success Circle, is here for you. So you can always just check it out if you're curious. Log on to www.accountabilitysuccesscircle.com and just do a free 1 month trial. It's super, super fun, and we would love to have you and just get to see how you're doing as we progress through a new year. So check us out. And I think
Yeah.
that's it. So happy holidays, guys.
Yes. And
See you
one more
next year.
thing.
Oh,
We have next week. We have a webinar.
oh yeah, we do
Uh,
have a webinar.
yeah, we have a webinar, and it's at on December 16th, Wednesday, and it is at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central Time, and we're talking about togetherness, and we're going to wrap up the things that we talked about here. We have a very special guest, who's going to be joining us, and yeah, um, you can go to accountabilitysuccesscircle.com to find out more, or April's YouTube channel, which is linked below as well, because that's where it's going to be streaming. So,
Yeah, check it
um,
out.
yeah, so happy holidays, and we will see you next year. So, Bye, everybody.
Bye.